Greet- Greetings to all and welcome to our show. It's called Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age. I'm your host, Glenda Shankal, and for decades I've successfully coached thousands of women on discovering a straightforward and easy path to their very own best lives. And I can help you find your best life too. In this show, we cover the most important things in a woman's life: happy relationships and connectivity, career and money choices for your financial freedom, and also beauty and health. Guests on this show are experts in all these areas. And we'll also be talking occasionally about how to transform tragedy or heartache into a personal triumph. On Eureka, we'll be covering the things that matter most. You know, as different as we women are, because of where we were born, how we grew up, or how we were educated, maybe in a university or maybe in a village, it turns out that really we're more alike than different. So no matter where in the world you live, no matter what your lifestyle, you share with other women a longing for love and genuine connection, a need for abundance, money, and personal freedom, and a hope for relationships that work smoothly and bring you joy. And sometimes we struggle with challenges and burdens which can be hard to bear. I'm here to help you with each one of these dreams, needs, and hopes. You are not alone with your deeper questions, and on my website, you'll find tools, tips, and smart action steps to help you live your best life. These are the very same tools I've been offering to my clients for decades. The website's called lovecomeseasily.com. The idea is that love should be easy to find and nourish, and it can and should successfully last a lifetime. So thank you for joining me. And now let's get started. I warmly welcome you to Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age. So welcome to the Eureka Show, Jane. How are you today?
I am so good. It's just a delight to be here with you and your guests, your audience.
Well, thank you, my dear. Today we get to talk about one of our favorite and one of the most interesting and challenging subjects out there, I'd say. We're going to talk about how to improve a sexual relationship because that's Jane's area of professional expertise. And I suspect this particular show is going to be a big hit with listeners, and you'll have my full attention too, Jane. So here's some information about Jane herself. Dr. Jane Guyn is a nationally known sex expert with a doctorate in human sexuality. She's the author of the Amazon #1 bestseller, Too Busy to Get Busy, and the creator of The Lover's Journey, which is based on her transformational bedroom model. She works with women to help them figure out what they really desire and how to get it. Because Dr. Jane's been married over 30 years, she also understands the challenges. She and her husband, Jim, have a big family. All right, Jane, so I would love for you to talk first about why a good sexual relationship within a committed partnership is so important. I know a lot of people struggle with this, and though they would not really want to admit it.
Absolutely. Right? You are so right, Glenda, that many of us have kind of given up on seeing sex as an important and vital part of who we are as women. And we've decided that we are maybe too busy, maybe too old, maybe we've been in a relationship for too long to have that hot, erotic, and super exciting sexual relationship that we had when we first got together.
Wow, that's too bad. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that in women, that they slowly, gradually, as years go by, it seems like the more years in a relationship, the more a woman sort of gives up on herself, maybe, on her body, and on her that kind of hot relationship. It's more of a partnership or a meeting of the minds or something. I witness that all the time, and I find it really curious.
Right. It's almost like it becomes a corporate marriage rather. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we are co-creating these projects, and we're project managers, and together we are guiding children or maybe a business that we own together. But we aren't really lovers anymore. And it's a huge loss for both parties, but for women, it really robs us of our vitality, our sense of connection to who we are, and really so much of the energy that we can bring into our creative expression in all areas of our life and work.
Wow. Wow. I've always been curious to hear an expert's opinion on why it is that sex often starts to fizzle, maybe around the 1 or 2 year mark. Of course, it could be sooner or later than that. But I sense that in most of the couples that I know and many of the strangers that I meet as well. What do you think there?
Well, I think that what happens is that we start our relationships with a lot of erotic charge that comes out of really the newness, what we call the new relationship energy. Mm-hmm. And that erotic charge carries us past many of the bumps that might be there. So things where we may be slightly less compatible in areas of our interests, but we ignore that. We don't have the conversations at that time. We kind of just are thrown together through our hormones, through passion, and it goes well for maybe a couple of years. You're right. So 1 or 2 years, we just desire each other and find each other in those moments, and we feel like everything's going to be great.
Huh. Yeah, I watch this. I don't quiz people on the energy, but you can feel an emotional charge between men and women. It's very evident to me over long years in my professional career. And you can feel when there's no spark or when there's resentment that's buried in a relationship. So it fizzles because of what? Differences in opinion, problems that haven't been solved? What goes on there?
Well, I think what happens is for a lot of people, there's some unresolved feelings for sure, things that haven't been said, maybe some lost opportunities because we don't know how to really understand where the barriers are that each of us are encountering. Perhaps, for example, you mentioned the bedroom model that I've created. It includes 7 different ingredients really for a recipe of fantastic, authentically expressed sexual connection. But because maybe I don't know that if you're my partner, that your vocabulary around sex is very different from mine. And every time we go to bed together, I use words that actually turn you off. And you ignore them for a while because you feel like, well, I don't want to talk about this. We're in the mood. We don't want to have this conversation. It feels like it'd be foreign. But eventually you start to feel that I just am actually not aligning to you, and I don't seem to get you, and I make you feel like you aren't really the goddess or the person who you want to see yourself as. And so you end up kind of pushing away, and this builds up these moments that we don't where we don't share what's authentically going on with us. Eventually they become, as you mentioned earlier, resentments or misunderstandings, and then having sex stops being as much fun because there are things we should have said maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, but we didn't say. We have questions about our partner's responsiveness. We don't know, am I pleasing? If I'm a guy and I'm with a woman, I'm like, I don't know. Did she really orgasm, or was she, I don't know if she was actually really as excited as she acted like she was. I hear some women fake it, but you don't want to ask. It's a tender topic. And so we don't really know how to communicate about such an important thing. And these moments that are lost, these communication opportunities that pass us by then build up, and eventually we think, well, I think I'm too busy, I'm too tired, or we just take a pass on a sexual opportunity that is there in front of us.
Wow, that's incredible. I also think that I've noticed in the past and felt and experienced for myself the sense of if there's an emotional problem or a moment of tension or discomfort or vulnerability, it's easy to then look outside, disappear out of the emotions and go into the mind and then start critiquing something. You know what I'm talking about?
You bet. Yes. We call that spectatoring. So it's almost like we have the Olympic judges on either side of the bed. So I'm not only am I spectatoring myself and whether or not I feel like I look good enough, or if my orgasms are, vocal enough, or the way that they have them in the movie I just watched last night, whether I think my breasts look perky enough. He is wondering whether his erection is lasting long enough, whether he's pleasing me quickly enough. Do I seem enthusiastic enough? So we have this spectatoring. It's almost like there are four of us there, and I'm not talking about a foursome. I'm talking about two people who are together in the bed, but we each bring kind of an Olympic judge there to kind of watch, and then at the end give ourselves a grade as to whether or not it was good or not good. Was it a 9.1? Was it a 6.3? What was it like? And that kind of thing is actually very damaging to the relationship when we end up in our head for some reason instead of fully present, as you just mentioned.
For myself, over my lifetime, I've observed that this is a pattern that's observable over the whole relationship. So it's not just in the bedroom, but every part of the relationship. When there's discomfort or vulnerability, it's easy to back out, go into your head, and start critiquing the relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally true. And it just becomes more intense sexually because sexually we are raw and every part of our beingness is there. And of course, there's really no hiding. And it is the opportunity for the most exquisite pleasure and also the most profound pain that we can ever experience, really, in that intimate relationship.
Wow, this is really interesting. It's time for us to take a break. Stay tuned to Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age, which can also be heard on xzbn.net and X Zone Broadcast Network.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org.
Welcome back. I'm Glenda Shankal, and you're listening to Eureka, which is being heard on xzbn.net and can be found on lovecomeseasily.com. Our guest tonight is Jane Guyn. She's a sex expert. Here's her website address. It's www.janeguyn, which is spelled Guyn.com. She also has a free gift for listeners. You can pick it up at www.janeguyn.com/feel like your sexy self. Okay, so Jane, let's get back to where we were talking before about emotional sensitivity and vulnerability and how it sabotages an emotional and sexual relationship. Can you just go right back in there for us?
Absolutely. So that sense of being truly vulnerable and open during a sexual episode is life-changing. And when we are there, fully present with the partner, without goals, without even the wonderful goal of pleasing each other, where I'm going to guide you to your orgasm, which is a beautiful, selfless act, but still can be a goal. And can be actually kind of off-putting to each other when we come in with the expectation that the partner is going to behave in a certain way. When we show up instead as a fully present person who is vulnerable and just there to be together wherever that takes us, that deepens our relationship instead of causing us to feel more and more sequestered on our side of the bed, as it were, or somehow critiquing one another, as we were just discussing.
So we're going to talk in a little while about men and what they do that doesn't help this problem in the bedroom. But before we do that, I want to talk about a problem that I've noticed and I've talked with my clients about many times over the years, and I don't really know the answer in the way that I'd like to know. So the problem that I notice is a woman becomes angry or frustrated because a man's communication style is different, his approach to problem solving is different, and she becomes alienated that he can't kind of figure out what she wants. And he in turn then senses that she's angry or frustrated. And so then that gap starts to widen, and they don't know how to talk over that and talk through it. And then eventually it starts to create isolation in the relationship. What do you suggest?
Well, first of all, recognizing that that's happening is a huge piece. And to the extent that we're able to vocalize what we see happening in ourselves and what we perceive happening in our partner, that will help us, because it's kind of like taking the flashlight and looking into the closet. And maybe that closet is dark and there's some spiders at the back. But when you have a flashlight, you realize that what you thought might have been a weapon is actually just a racquetball racket, or something that you thought seemed really scary was, and maybe potentially dangerous. It was actually not that. When the intent to be connected and to love each other is there, and we show each other that is the intent of the communication, despite our clumsy communication styles, because we're only human after all, and we are only doing our best, which is never perfect, of course. But when we start off with the intent for connection and with love, that goes a long way. That's the flashlight into the closet. But we still do have to open that door, and we still do have to start taking the pieces apart and removing pieces and sharing and saying what's there. And sometimes those things are hard to hear. and holding space for each other to say what it is we need to say will help us sexually. And I've got to say, Glenda, that people talk about sex taking too long, and my book is Too Busy to Get Busy. But in truth, that's not the problem. The thing that takes a long time is the communication about everything else that's been in the way of sex, so that we can get to the point where we can be sexual together without having all these unspoken difficulties sitting there or being in the bed with us. Then now we're having a threesome. You and me and all of these things we haven't said. That's the threesome. And that one is not the threesome that people write about or watch on porn. That's a threesome that is not hot, not sexy, not erotic. And it just leaves us frustrated, rolling over in bed at night and feeling like we are unsatisfied, and our partner goes to sleep feeling unsatisfied as well.
Huh. Wow. So what I'm feeling, what I'm sensing based on what you're saying is that all of that unfinished business, you have to, before you can relax enough to have a sexual experience, you have to relax through all of the layers of resistance and the vulnerability and the discomfort and the frustration that your partner's not actually hearing you, and maybe they won't be interested. It just seems like that's a lot of baggage before you can get personal with each other.
Well, good point. And actually, I don't recommend that people do all that work first, but I do recommend that people recognize that sex can be the beginnings of that communication too. I mean, and it really depends on the people. Some people are able to have, a kind of a sense, a conversation that says, we love each other. We don't always communicate beautifully, but we love each other. Why don't we just put those things to the side? We'll parking lot them for right now. And let's just make love. Let's have sex. Let's play. Let's not put a lot of pressure on each other. And then we'll come back and we'll dig away at that little by little. It may take us a month. Maybe we'll end up getting coaching. Maybe we'll end up in some kind of other process that we'll use so that we can fully understand each other. We won't wait to be sexual, but we'll recognize that this potentially could be a barrier. So while we're not going to go through every single piece before we touch each other, we are going to recognize that it's there and kind of just put it over to the side and say, this will wait. We can be together. It could keep us from ever showing up sexually together. Let's not let that happen, but we will still make a commitment to continue to decompress those pieces and still understand each other more and more and grow in our closeness together as a couple.
I think this is a tremendously interesting and helpful conversation. We haven't talked that much about sex. We'll get there. I think that we carry all this, and I've heard women in their unspoken expectations. Oh, my partner should understand what I need. Oh, and I've tried to tell him and he doesn't understand. And, oh, he tries to buy me presents, but he always gets the wrong thing. And there's this sense of getting everything gradually wrong, especially in long-term partnerships. This is what I've witnessed in thousands of long-term partnerships. A sense of frustration, futility, like, oh, whatever, oh, brother. And then it goes to that sort of corporate committee thing where we work together to have a family or keep a business going or something. But there's no emotional connection. It's almost very formal.
You're right. Yeah, it's really sad, too, because what that does is rob each person of feeling really validated, which is something can definitely happen when they're seen sexually and seen to be a beautiful and engaging and attractive person. That can give any of us, it does give us the sense of really being, there's a lot about feeling empowered, feeling seen, not feeling invisible anymore when you know that your partner enjoys you as a sex partner and sees you as a lover rather than just as, somebody on the board of directors of this corporation that you call your marriage or your family.
Wow. Yeah, I feel that it's a tremendous loss, and I think women become very envious and very bitter when that part has gone away, that very warm, hot, emotional closeness. I've just witnessed it a lot. It's tragic to me, heartbreaking. Okay, so someone's in that space. They're kind of distanced from their partner. A lot of time has gone by, and it's hard to do the work because we're talking about refreshing a relationship when there's a lot of trust and confidence the other person's really listening. So what if that's already gone away? Then what? Where do we start?
Okay, so you mean in a situation where two people are together, they don't feel like they can trust or be vulnerable with one another?
They're way past, they're sort of in sort of futility or disenchantment way down the road.
Right. Well, the thing I usually suggest to people in that situation is something that you might not expect from a sex expert, but I suggest that we go way back to the beginning of the board. So sometimes I talk to my clients about using the board, like thinking about the board of Candyland, that game that kids played back in the day. I think it's still out there, but this where you start at the beginning and you go along these different little steps along this board until you get to this special prize at the center of the board where you kind of win, and you get to go to the special the castle, and that would be this fantastic sexual experience that two people have together. But you have to start back somewhere else, and just deciding we're going to have sexual intercourse, penis and vagina sex, that's going to solve it. That is not the answer for lots and lots and lots of people, because that's just not where they are. So I recommend people go way back to the beginning and actually start where they might have been when they first started dating. And I teach them about something that I know to be true about women, because for a lot of these couples, the woman is really the person who feels like her needs are not being met, she's not being heard. And because we're socialized differently, or maybe because we are physically different, for a lot of women, the sexual piece is more easily put to the side than maybe for the man, if this is a heterosexual couple. So I recommend that the couple start with something where he is engaging her erotic pool. And for me, my training tells me that women's eroticism resides in the periphery. So what I mean by that, Glenda, is that our eroticism is in our hands and our feet and our head instead of in the core. So that's why we end up in the spa getting our nails done, and we get a manicure, we get a pedicure. That's why we're always getting our hair done. Whereas men are very much more core oriented, which is why they send us dick pics.
We're going to take a break, and we'll come right back to this subject in a moment. Stay tuned to Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age, which can also be heard on xcbn.net and X Zone Broadcast Network, and on lovecomseasily.com.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
So welcome back. I'm Glenda Shankal, and you're listening to Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age. Our guest tonight is Jane Guyn, who can be reached by way of her website at www.janeguyn.com. That's spelled Guyn.com. And her free gift can be found when you add a few more words to the website address, janeguyn.com/feel like your sexy self. Okay, I'm so excited to go right back to where we were. So this is interesting. So eroticism, starting around the edges for women, bringing them back gradually into their erotic energy, their energy pool. Go ahead, Jane, talk some more. This is real interesting.
Right. So think back on that movie from the 60s, or it was a TV show, black and white TV show called The Addams Family. And the woman, the mom in that show, if anybody's into watching vintage TV, her name was Morticia, and her husband used to kiss her hand and kiss all the way up to her shoulder in this very romantic kind of Latin way. And that was funny at the time, but he actually had something that he knew about women when he did that, because as I mentioned earlier, we women keep our eroticism, or it lives in the periphery, in our hands, in our feet, in our head. And for many men, since they don't realize this, they tend to, when they want to seduce us, they focus on the core, the breasts, or the core, the torso, or even the genitals. And women often find this very off-putting. So what I recommend to couples who are in the beginning of rekindling their relationship after a long absence is that they start with gentle touching. The husband, the man, if it's a heterosexual couple, starts with gentle touching and stroking of the hand, the palms of the hands, the fingers, all the way up to the elbows, up to the shoulders, that he give her a foot massage, rub her head, her neck, kiss her neck, and just plain old kissing. What we used to refer to as making out, spending a long time passionately kissing, maybe even starting with slow kissing without a lot of passion, just starting and allowing her to become more connected with who she is erotically, and allow her to feel like she can guide the process rather than feeling like she's flooded with his passion at the beginning. And this brings her forward and allows her to open, kind of like a flower would open, and eventually to get to a place where she really wants to pursue more connection with him.
Wow, that's really interesting. I kind of wish somebody had told me this when I was 20 years old. Didn't know this stuff, didn't know this stuff. Okay.
Of course. We don't know this stuff. We don't have any, and it makes perfect sense that we wouldn't know it, because people don't really talk about this very much.
No, you can't. It's kind of a taboo topic. And also there's this game people play about how cool they are, how hot they are, whatever it is, but there's no real truth behind it. That's what I've discovered, right?
Right. Totally true. Absolutely. Because in truth, we are each navigating this, each of us. But it's there for us, and it's there for us at any age. It's there for us after menopause. We can be equally aroused, erotic, lubricated as a woman, receptive to a partner as we are in our younger years. In fact, we can have more satisfying and more really mind-blowing sex. That, they talk about that in Cosmo, mind-blowing sex, but we can have that at an older age than we ever would have thought. We don't have to truncate our sexuality when we hit, whatever the age is when we go through menopause. And many women think because our hormones change at that time that our sexual connection to self, our libido, our responsiveness, our ability to accept a partner is removed, and that is false. And we don't have to use hormones as a replacement in order to maintain that. Really, much of it has to do with our own internal erotic life and how we maintain connection to that sense of sexuality, and that then continues to kind of revitalize our body and makes our body more and more receptive to our own sexual energies and those of a partner.
I want to mention, I really want to go to what we're going to talk about men and how they can help women and women can help men in sex. But before we do that, I want to mention that when I lived in New York, there was this huge movement in the city of men in their 30s, even in their late 20s, pursuing women up to age 50, and there were meetup groups and there were clubs, and they were actively dating men in their 30s wanting to pursue and marry women who were between, 30 years old, 35 years old, and 50. And it first shocked me when I moved to New York, and then I really understood why. So I have to reinforce what you said, which is age is a story we're telling ourselves, ladies. So if you're over 40 and you think, oh my gosh, I'm not as good looking or attractive or hot as I used to be, you could be entirely mistaken in ways you can't even begin to imagine. So let's go now and talk about the complaint women have that men are not good lovers. Can we start there?
You bet. Let's start there. So women do complain a lot that men fail at sex. They're bad lovers. They, in fact, if you want to get a conversation going, bring that up, like how bad men are in bed, how bad men are about sex. You can get any number of women to talk about that, even if they'll never talk about sex normally. But it's a very enjoyable conversation for many, many women, because women have a lot of complaints about men sexually. I'm sure you could get the same conversation going with a group of men, but we're talking about women right now. So when there's no reason that men would be great sexually, because they have been socialized in the same culture that women have. And what they've been taught is that they don't need to really ask about sex with their partner. So when I give presentations to business groups about this topic, I say that these men, because what I do is talk about how men and sex is kind of like us and sales and marketing. So business people and how we fail at sales and marketing. These are the same things that happen with men and sex. So what happens is with men is they don't do what I refer to as market research. They do not find out what their ideal client, that would be in this case their wife, what that ideal client, that woman, wants sexually. And when I help men learn this, I teach them the 7 different areas I'd mentioned earlier in the bedroom recipe model, that these 7 different areas, one of them was body, one is environment, desire, relationship, openness, orgasm, and mindfulness, all goes together to create the word bedroom. There are 7 different areas where a man can really ask his woman what she likes, and he can find out so much about her and understand her at a very deep level if he understands the types of questions to ask. So this is like doing market research. Then he'll understand, for example, Glenda, that she loves to have, well, she actually is kind of a conservative woman, but she has this fantasy to have risky sex in public places. She's really erotically charged by that. And they always have sex in the same place, in their bedroom with the, curtains closed and, everything shut down at night. But really what she's interested in is some kind of an erotically charged experience where they're out in a meadow maybe with a blanket and the sun's shining on her back and they're together naked. That's her fantasy. But he doesn't know that because he never really asks her where she'd like to have sex. Or maybe he never asks her what time she'd like to have sex or what types of clothing she likes or anything about what I refer to as environmental cues to sexual arousal and eroticism. So he doesn't do the market research. He makes an assumption that she's like the other women he's either known or has heard about or he's seen in movies, and he just makes an assumption. He says to himself, "I'm a great lover, and I'm just going to do what I know to do." And he doesn't ever query her about what her real desires are.
Wow, that's amazing. So that seems like a real gap, doesn't it? That they wouldn't, but she may not know how to tell him, you're not doing the right thing. She doesn't want to criticize him. Then what? So what does the woman do in a case like this?
Right. So, of course, each of us is responsible for sharing our own truth. And that's where her responsibility comes in, is somehow if she has been educated and knows that there's a big variety of ways that they could express sexually, that if she knows that, then she may be able to help him learn. Maybe these relationships that you were talking about in New York have a lot to do with the fact that an older woman may understand her body better and may be able to guide a younger lover, a man who is perhaps not as knowledgeable, and tell him how she likes to be touched, what she likes to do, and where she likes to do it, and help him to bring her to pleasure and vice versa. So each of us has responsibility in this to share with our partner what we want, what we desire. And to the extent that we understand ourselves in this variety of areas, we'll be able to create a beautifully expressed sex life together. But when he starts out without a curious mind and makes an assumption that she's just like his last girlfriend or something he watched in porn or something else, then he's missing an opportunity to really customize his approach to her.
Wow, I love this. This is such a juicy subject and such a great conversation. So we're going to get ready here to take our last break. Stay tuned to Eureka on xzbn.net and lovecomseasily.com. And this can also be heard on XZBN, an X-Zone broadcast network.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howell expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. Chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com.
So welcome back. I'm Glenda Shankal, and you're listening to Eureka. Our guest tonight is Jane Guyn, whose website address is www.janeguyn.com. Guyn is spelled G-U-Y-N. She has a gift for listeners, which you can find at the same website address, janeguyn.com/feel like your sexy self. So this is a great, wonderful conversation. I notice a myth women have in their minds based on our conversation here, Jane, and that is that men should just sort of know and it's their fault if they don't know. I don't know if it's the culture I live in, the region of the country where I'm living, that I kind of see this assumption a lot. Oh, he should just know. I shouldn't have to tell him. Can you talk about that for a second, then go back to where you were?
Absolutely. So let's just think for a second about anatomy. And this is an interesting question that you're asking me, Glenda, because when you think about male and female anatomy, let's take a look at who has the more easy to understand anatomy and the anatomy where someone would know what to do. So if you look at a man's body, when a man is aroused, his penis is erect, and it's not that hard to figure out what to do with it to give him pleasure. And he knows what to do. He knows how to give himself an orgasm. She knows how to give him an orgasm. She doesn't even have to really participate that much in giving him an orgasm. Sometimes that becomes really a horrible part of our lives, as we both know, that women are taken advantage of sexually. But it's easy. It's an easy anatomy to evaluate, to assess. But if you look at a woman's anatomy, first of all, we can't even see our genitals without a mirror. We can't even ourselves visualize what we look like. And then we expect a partner to be able to understand exactly what to do. When you look at an image of a woman's genitals, like say it's a diagram drawn out in an anatomy book, everything looks pretty clear about where the clitoris is, all the different pieces of the woman's anatomy. But when you look at a woman's body, some of those pieces, some of the parts of a woman's body are very hard to distinguish. And it's no wonder that a man doesn't necessarily know exactly how to please a woman. Why would he know? Because we are very complex creatures. We are multifaceted. We are emotional. We have all sorts of, and men are too, of course, but we have many layers that come into our sexuality. It's one of the things that makes us so wonderful as sex partners, because we're intriguing and we can be a bit mysterious. And we also tend to think that our partner should kind of understand this, get it, if you will, without us ever saying anything. And that's one of the reasons that a lot of women have this fantasy that they're going to become a partner. They're going to get a woman lover. I hear women saying all the time, I've had it with men. I'm just going to, start being with women because they're going to know how I feel and what I want. But the truth is that's not accurate. When women get together, they also need to when women get together sexually and become sex partners, they have to ask all these same questions too. They have to ask, does this feel good? Does that feel good? How do you like this? How do you like that? So it's not true that another woman will know exactly how to please you. If you're thinking that's maybe the option, is to, just be with another woman. What you really have to do is you have to start knowing what you want, and you have to start saying it out loud. Because no one's going to read your mind. No one's going to read your mind.
Wow. Yeah. So, so then a woman, you can lead people you could lead your partner to understand what you need through body language, through words directly, through gentle expression, just all kinds of tools, whatever feels right in the moment, right?
Yes.
Instead of assuming they should know. Yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead.
I really recommend that we vocalize. For one thing, it's very erotic for men and for a woman's partner when she vocalizes. But it's also just good feedback. If you don't make any noises when you're liking something your partner's doing, there's no way your partner knows that was something good. So when we are vocal, when we let our partner know, then they realize, oh, okay, that's great. This is working. Because with a man, it's very straightforward. He has an erection. You get the impression that he probably is still liking it. But with a woman, it's a little harder. I mean, how do you know? Is this still working? Is this a good thing or not? So we need to be vocal. And it's actually part of our history. How we have called in mates and expressed ourselves is through this, what they refer to as female copulatory vocalization patterns. And there's, all sorts of research done about that and how that encourages the male to be further aroused and how it actually works for the woman's eroticism as well. So being vocal, both with words, either before sex or during sex, and with our sexual noises is a really important part of being a sexual person.
How would you suggest a woman invite a man in, since we're on this kind of in this tangent here or topic, to sexual contact if they've been in this long quiet phase? I've seen a lot of this. I've talked to a lot of clients about it lately, and I'm curious. What's your recommendation?
Okay, so we talked about using the erotic touch. Now, if you're a man and you're wanting to touch your woman, then you're going to be stroking her periphery, her hands, her feet, her head. We talked about kissing, having that be kind of a make-out kind of thing where there's time spent on kissing and prioritization of kissing. And if I'm a woman who wants to rekindle sexual connection with my man, what I think I would do, and I recommend to clients, is start with a massage. How many men would not welcome even what starts out as a platonic or just friendly massage from his woman? Even if you have to do it on the floor, take a nice tablecloth or something that you can put on the floor if you don't have a massage table at home, which most couples don't, although I recommend that they do. Use some coconut oil or some other massage oil and just give your partner a massage. It's very relaxing. And then if you decide that you'd like to massage the genitals, then it'll become obvious that you're interested in something more than just the massage. But you can also just use your words. You can say, I would like to try again. I would like to be with you. I think that we should move toward this. I love you. The times we've been together have been some of the best moments of my life. That's very encouraging for a partner.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're suggesting, and what we're talking about here is the woman guiding the man toward that intimate relationship that may have sort of fizzled, died out, gone quiet, gone dark, whatever it is, right? So just guiding him back there really gently using language, vocalization, suggestion, the idea of a massage, and just telling him, let's try again. Let's go back and see what we can do. So being courageous and taking the initiative, right?
Right, absolutely. There are so many relationships that really die because one person has been the initiator for so long that they just get tired of it. It's like, you know what? If she's not interested, I'm not going to try again. I'm going to wait her out and see if she'll try. See if she will actually show an interest. And then if the woman doesn't show an interest, the guy often is like, forget it. I'm not going to be the only one who's into this. And it can happen the opposite way, too, where the woman is always the initiator. If you find that you're not the initiator and you want more sex in your life, look at yourself and ask yourself, did I offer the invitation with an open heart, with a playful, open heart? Did I offer? Because if that's what you want, even if you feel like you're not the right size, I mean, so many women come to me and say, when I lose 30 pounds, then we can be sexual again. Well, you know what? Your partner just wants to be touched. Your partner loves you. Don't wait around to take off a whole lot of weight before you stay connected together.
And that can just be an excuse, right? Like there are other issues or problems that haven't been resolved. Oh, we'll make it about my size, or I don't feel attractive. That's about me, not about my partner, right? If I don't feel attractive?
Yes, it is totally about you. But I have heard so many people say that they're not willing to get naked because they have shame around their body. And my pushback on that is that one of the best ways to stay connected with your body and to feel like you can just allow your body to be the size it's meant to be, whatever that is for you, is to start giving it pleasure, because it really needs that.
Wow, that's really interesting. So if you had one strong tip for women about where they could start, wherever they are, what would it be? Because we're going to wind down now. Go ahead.
It would be to prioritize your sexuality no matter where you are in your life right now. If you're single, start thinking about yourself as a sexual being again. Start touching yourself. Start thinking about what it might look like to get a partner in your life again. Could that work for you? And if you're in a relationship and your relationship is not as sexual as you want it to be, do the same thing. Invite that idea in. And if you feel like you need some support around that, there's a lot of support out there. Find support. Get yourself someone, either maybe a friend you could talk to, something. Allow yourself to start imagining what it would be like to be in a sexual, connected, erotic, pleasure-filled relationship again, even now.
Because this could become the best moment of your life ever if you go in this direction with the wisdom of a lifetime and with the ability to be attractive in new ways, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on Eureka, Jane. This has been an amazing show. I hope it's a great hit for a long time to come on my website and also on the show website. Jane's website address, once again, is www.janeguyn.com, and her free gift for listeners can be found at the same address, janeguyn.com/feel like your sexy self. Want to know how to live your best possible life? Tune in often and find out exactly how. Would you like to strengthen relationships, expand abundance and money, improve your health, or even become more beautiful than you used to be? I'm Glenda Shankal, your host for Eureka, How a Woman Can Thrive at Any Age, which can be heard every weekday at various hours right here on xebn.net radio and X Zone radio station, and found on lovecomeseasily.com.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.